School is systematically broken. It is not something that can be fixed by incorporating new strategies here. It's not something that can change by adding more resources there. It is broken by design. And today I wanted to talk about parents that complain. Because although you kind of feel or you have the sense that it comes from a good place, parents that complain never want to help. They want to enforce their rules onto you. Let me repeat that. They're never there to help. Their children are behavior problems for a reason. They're there so they can enforce their authority onto you. In a sense, they want to absolve their kid from all accountability. And if you don't believe me, just remember I've been a teacher for almost 10 years. I've seen the worst or how bad parents have dropped the ball in terms of educating or enforcing any sort of discipline to their kids. And this comes in many ways. I've seen kids throw desks at teachers. I've seen kids spit. I've seen kids punch other children. I've seen them bring drugs to school. I've seen everything under the sun where it comes to bad behavior. And it's always those kids that have the parents who complain the most. Now think about it. Why? Well, they get their behavior from somewhere, and that somewhere obviously has to come from their direct role model, their parents. Their parents teach the wrong form of discipline, they teach the wrong ethics, they teach the wrong moral code, and they bring that same lack of structure into the classroom setting. And so now we have a mess in the public school system. And the people who complain the most are the people who enforce their wrong discipline structures. It is a downward spiral. Let me talk about a parent here that always complain about our education system, about our teaching strategies, about our method of delivering instruction to our kids. This parent has complained about not educating his kid right. This parent has complained about not breaking down the fundamentals of the lesson right to the kid. This parent also has stated things like, you're not understanding enough about the home environment to our kid. And now think about all that I said. All of this is good, right? Like you want the parent to be an advocate for your kid. You want this parent to sort of champion for their kid. And yes, you want the teacher to do all of that stuff. You want the teacher to be more understanding. You want the teacher to break down the lesson as much as possible so that the student can get as much knowledge available to them during that lesson. However, that is not the reality of the situation. Their kid is spoiled rotten and their kid is uncoachable. That is the real issue. Their kid doesn't want to learn. Their kid doesn't want to be disciplined. Their kid doesn't want to have any form of authority figure. And that's what they're missing. That is what every parent complaint really comes down to. Parents don't realize that their kid is unteachable because their kid lacks any sort of structure from the home environment. And all of this is a bigger issue. We all know society has an enforcement problem because parents don't teach these kids to grow up with morals, with values. They teach these kids to grow up as conniving, as manipulative as possible. And so let's talk about children in general. Children know how to manipulate adults, right? If you don't know, then ask a child why he cries when he knows he did something wrong. Children at a certain age know the difference between right and wrong. They know what respectful looks like. They know what disrespect looks like. They know what presses your buttons. And overall, if they stepped outside of their home, even for a fraction of a second, they know norms, standards pushed upon by society. Things like you shouldn't fart in public. Things like you shouldn't burp. You shouldn't sneeze at somebody's face. They know this just by observing the world around them. Yet, if they continue to do this, then it is not the fault of a teacher. It's not a fault of the education system. It is a fault that the parent did not enforce any sort of structure towards the kid, enabling them, absolving them from all sort of authority figure. Now here's where we get to the most harsh reality that I want to impose on you guys. Parents, teachers, as professionals, as the adults, they should enforce these disciplines on their kid. They should enforce what is right and wrong to the kids. They should enforce how to behave in a certain environment. And yes, that means getting mad at them. Yes, that means correcting them. Yes, that means disciplining them. Yes, that also means disciplining them with physical action provided a safe construct boundaries. People are so afraid of this topic. People see it as barbaric, yet look at society in general, right? You want to hit your kid, that's what I'm saying. And people think that you're an evil person for that. But yet look at society in general, right? Everything at its core is stopped by, prevented, or enforced by violence, right? If you do something wrong, you do it to the extreme level, it's gonna get violent. Police is gonna come, they're gonna enforce their authority on you by violence. They're not gonna ask you politely if you keep on repeating that action. If you pick on someone that's aggressive and you keep on picking at them, then they will enforce their violence upon you. This isn't controversial. This shouldn't be something that it blows your mind. This should be common sense to most people. So, do you want the world to enforce their violence upon your kid? Or do you want you, somebody who knows better, to enforce the violence on your kid? Somebody that can do it in a safe manner, somebody that can do it in a nice lecturing tone. Something to think about. Just parents that complain do not want to help. They want to enforce the authority on the teacher. And unfortunately, public school system is a customer care service. It is not something to educate your kid. It is something to please the parents while they're away at work. Something to think about. Just know public school system is corrupted at its core. This is just one of the many reasons why it's corrupted, why it's systematically broken.